The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome, everybody, to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour on a very quiet on the Western Front. End of a week. And kind of as we talked about, I think yesterday, going into, and the day before, going into fund buying, it's hard to believe that we're probably going to see significantly lower prices. Reaction to the earnings kind of all over the place, but for the most part, people trying to bid these things up, even though most of the CEOs are telling them that there are problems afoot. But you know what can we say out here? We're up on fairly light volume today. It probably doesn't matter. I'm going to say this is the lowest volume other than a Fed day that we've had to start the show off, about 6.3 billion shares. Part of that could be summer trading, but you know, this in the previous years it hasn't been this low. So you have to make a case that something's really changing. Looks like we're going to get maybe 9 billion, maybe 9.5 billion shares compared to 11.5 billion shares in previous weeks. So what can you say out here? Well, the old saying, you don't want to be short a quiet market. I don't think I'd want to have anything very long on. We took a couple of stabs and had the entry just about perfect. Took puts on Apple this morning when it was in the 163s with a 162.50. Got a big, huge move down. I thought it was probably going to hold on 160, and we ran out of movement on the top and the bottom side. I think everybody is looking for some kind of slightly higher move through probably Wednesday on fund buying. My guess is that there isn't a lot of money on the upside. There probably is more of a market where we're going to see people that are too short get squeezed out on highly shorted stocks. But other than that, there's just not a lot to hang your hat on. Not a lot of earnings. We went through those yesterday that could really move the markets. We've got a couple of them. But it's going to be, you know, I think we had half of the market cap report this week. So the rest of the weeks and the weeks before are all pretty minor compared, and what we're going to see next week all pretty minor. We've got the Chinese communists, otherwise known as the Chi-Coms, all ready to start a war. Market doesn't seem to think anything's going on there. Nancy Pelosi's headed over to Taiwan to stir things up, which I don't have any problem with. Just kind of interesting to see a market that doesn't do much. I'm wondering if anybody knows that we're in a recession. Saw something this morning. I should have probably saved it, but it went through how many major news organizations said that we were in a recession last night, and it's crickets. Well, we're officially in a recession. Does that mean anything? Not as much probably as it used to. Probably not as much as the media trying to hide that we're in a recession. But at the same time, does that mean the Fed is going to quit raising rates? And I think a lot of people are whistling past the graveyard on that, especially with more spending by Congress, just going to make inflation all that much more worse. So we're probably going to give back a lot of it, but with a view of not probably getting anything done after the elections this fall. This is their last time to put your snout, your you're a big piggly wiggly snout in the public coffers, so they're going after that. 877-927-6648. Does it not feel like it to most people yet? You know what? Most people don't think that it is a recession. The old saying is a recession is when your neighbor loses a job. A depression is when you lose your job. I think there's a little bit of that, and I think they kind of look at the high labor participation rate and think, well, people that want to work have a job. So this is a kind of a little bit of a different thing, but from Janet Yellen's, she shouldn't go on stage. She's not a very good actor, but she's also not very good at denying the truth. She has no poker face, and her trying to deny that there was any recession is kind of laughable. I've heard people in the last, 24 hours compare it to being in the bread lines, because there's some famous pictures of people being in bread lines in Russia, the Soviet Union, and big signs saying that there are no bread lines with a guy standing back behind it. Don't believe what you hear or see. Of course, that was in Russian, so it doesn't make a lot of sense there. And I was thinking of other people that were denying reality. Baghdad Bob, of course, he's my favorite. They're not in the city. They're not here. And, of course, you look back over his shoulder and there's a M1A1 Abrams going into Baghdad that you can see in the background. A lot of times these things just don't last very long. I understand the need not to scream fire in a crowded theater, but you have to just say, well, it's a minor one, right? Maybe you try to play it down, but just lying outright about whether there is one, there's a definition for it, and we're in it. Now, the idea, I think, is a lot of people think that we're done with rate hikes. I don't think so. You look at crude again today and some of these other ones. Gold actually starting to move. That probably tells you something. Look for gold on Monday. Is this just somewhere that everybody is hiding out for the weekend in a good place because crude was down a little bit? So maybe they thought gold was so washed out we can park some money there. And of course, we'll not know, but I think Monday is going to be a big deal for gold, and that is whether or not people, you see a sell-off of it of any sign, or whether or not everybody hangs on to it. And I think that the risk-reward has been pretty good on gold this week. It did come off the lows, mostly, I suspect, not on raising interest rates, but on government spending. So the question here is that the only thing that's going to move gold is more government spending and maybe not a rise in interest rates? I think it is. Anyway, we'll see Monday, though, but I think that's going to be a big deal. Back in a minute.
Of looming inflation, where your purchasing power is eroded, there's no better place to protect your hard-earned money than in gold. Vista Gold's flagship asset is the Mount Todd Gold Project in the Northern Territory of Australia. This is Australia's largest undeveloped gold project. We are talking a world-class gold project in a Tier 1 mining district. This is a large-scale, low-cost project with significant existing infrastructure in a politically safe and friendly mining jurisdiction. Vista Gold just completed the Mount Todd feasibility study, which resulted in a 7 million ounce gold reserve in a 16-year mine life. All of this, combined with the approvals of all major operational as well as environmental permits. This distinguishes Mount Todd as an attractive, de-risk partner, ready development stage gold project. Vista Gold trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol VGZ.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month and try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And we're back. Got a nice email from a gentleman who forwarded me an article on the positive side of recessions. And the only thing I can say is that I don't know who this guy is, but one thing I know is people that generally write on the economy have a miserable track record of being correct. We talk from time to time about super forecasting, and that a guy out in the middle of a wheat field in Nebraska waxed everybody in Washington, D.C. with inside knowledge of what was happening. So being a good forecaster, or super forecaster as the book is called, a 20-year or 20, I think it's 30-year now, long run of actually tracking what people say and what happens. I loved there's another guy that said it great, and he said that economists have forecast 9 of the last 2 recessions. And of course, you can flip it the other way. Have correctly predicted the last 2 of the 9 recessions. But I'm not a big fan, especially down here in Hurricane Alley. We had people that for 15 straight years forecast named storms, and they finally went out of business. And of course, what they do, they were not one for like 15 years, the longest run ever. And of course, they were all predicting the end of the world yet again. And it just that way. We all believe that we have some kind of superior knowledge, that we have some kind of inside track. A lot of times, having a lot of general knowledge is so much better than having very specific knowledge. But the more you look at something, the old saying is, every hammer thinks it's looking for a nail, and just not a big fan of experts. Generally, the markets are fairly good and general impressions of things. I just thought it was, one, miserably hypocritical for the major news networks not to report on it, but also to just the high reality of denying things like the Soviet Union did for years. No one believed it, and I think the latest surveys for newspapers and other news say actual news outlets, not opinion places like CNBC, CNN or Fox or those, think that actual news folks are about 80% biased, and that actually is on both sides, and color the news to fit their narrative. So there isn't a really good place to go to find some kind of truth. We talk about fascist book or Metamucil a great deal. Hysterically, their source of coming in for let's see what here, coming in for what is true and not about potential global warming is some deep in the woods hack from Germany, who ran for 20 years a thing promoting the events of global warming. So I don't know if you're accused of a drunk driver. Kind of like having the judge and jury as the member of his family. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and it certainly doesn't hold any academic rigor to be making judgments like that. My belief, somebody asked me yesterday what I think is happening with Metamucil. The king, or would-be king, of Meta/fascist book has sold his big home in San Francisco and continues to buy more land on a little island that theoretically would go underwater if everything he said was true. Yes, looks to me like most of the stuff that Zuckerberg is selling in San Francisco points to him exiting stage left sooner rather than later. I don't know who's going to replace him, but my guess is he wants out before he has to go and testify for months ad nauseum in front of Congress in the coming year. It looks like a super high probability that will happen. I think he's out of there. You had a high volume test of the previous low. You're still hanging in there with the market going higher. As I said, I'm not a big fan of any of these. They all have individual problems. Metamucil, Twitter, Google's probably the best off, but there's still a lot of people that could conceivably go to jail if you turn over enough rocks on the fraud in how they charge for advertising. Generally, you can't put a corporation in jail, but I think, especially in Europe, you may find a couple of these guys getting frog marched into the what do they call it in Europe? I mean, in the UK, not the paddock, the dock. I think they call it the dock over there. You got a little bit of juice, but I mean, in price, but none in volume on Google. But most of these, I haven't looked at Twitter lately, so let's do that. I have avoided it just because everybody had an opinion that had nothing to do with the company. You finally got back up and got to this gap down that happened on the 13th of May. And that came down with 101 million shares. You're in it today with 7 million shares. Could you get a little bit more out of this? Meh, could be. What I dislike is you've got this big gap. My guess is you're going to see more of these gaps on the way down. Social media sites relying on phony advertising numbers just smacks of at least antitrust, if not more, in the way of issues with criminal behavior on backing these things up. And of course, Twitter not too fast out here on getting its documents ready for its coming court hearing. So the court hearing that they wanted to happen real quick, may be put off till next year now, because he didn't get the documents to the opposing side of their lawsuit. Let's go ahead and start looking through these. Give me a call, 877-927-6648. Questions about nuclear energy. You got to think that as long as half the world is going to be thinking probably wrongly that, am I not there? CCJ? There we go. That they're going to need regular crude oil. They're going to wake up. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metal sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, talking about nuclear energy, you got to think that at least some of those nuclear plants that they shuttered over the last 5 years, especially in Germany and France, is something that they're going to reopen. They're going to have to. I can't imagine going through this winter with 20% of the natural gas that you had last year for heating. And of course, on her tombstone, Merkel probably should get a little comment about how she was so stupid to depend on the kindness of evil strangers. But I digress. But yeah, I think you're gonna have to have something. Last winter, the average cost of energy was up to the average household through the 6 months of winter was up $2,500 over the year. They're looking more from 2 years ago to something like $4,200 this year. So yeah, I think people are going to be out with the pitchforks, and they're not going to be any happy. And the answer of none of the above is not going to ring true. And so you're going to either have to have more drilling, or you're going to have nuclear energy. I suspect that Bill Gates moving ahead with his small pilot project is probably the first little nose under the tent by the camel, at least here in the United States. But these things take 5-10 years to get going. Where they're throwing them up left and right in China is still the big market. And, of course, refiring up all those ones in Europe, I think they shut down 15. Could be 15. So, yeah, could be Japan restarting. They're going to have to do something. No one's on the long list of stuff people are concerned about. Global warming's like 12th. So they can continue to harp on it and bring it up, but a world is not very interested in it for the most part. Okay, one of the earnings out here, FSLR, up on kind of interesting information, and that is that especially the first 10 years of solar panels from about 2008 to 2018 had a fairly short life experience. We have somebody? We'll go to Dave in Framingham. How you doing, Dave?
David?
Hey.
Yeah. Can you take a look at AMD there for me? See where it's going here? AMD.
Yep, you're up to the gaps here. And interestingly enough, it's up with Intel down.
Yeah.
Not a lot of volume. Both AMD and NVIDIA are the number one stocks with more than 300,000 shares a day that are shorted. And so they're always perpetually massively short, at least during the daytime. About 1 out of 3 shares is always shorted on these. So the question is, what's going on? Both NVIDIA and AMD look like they're going to drag out product launches past September. To me, trying to launch new product in January is problematic. But right now, I think a lot of people are just whistling past the graveyard. Intel says that all PC sales are significantly lower. Doesn't seem to jive with the chart with AMD. But you know what? Especially with China, always out there. When I want to be in these, I want to be in them with them generally with options. So, the nice part is that that is overhanging the ability to wipe out the entire chip industry by invading Taiwan. Taiwan Semiconductor and Samsung make 70% of all chips. And about 48% is from Taiwan Semi themselves. So just know that you have a single point of failure if China decides to get froggy. So I'd always be in these if I wanted to be long with options. What are your thoughts?
Looking at the stock, whether it's going to get over 100 here. I don't like doing options. People really don't make out doing options.
What's that?
I don't think I'm wondering if it's going to shoot through the 100, the AMD.
I don't know. It's got a lot of short sellers in it, and we're going into a week where fund buying comes in. It doesn't take much to make all those short people that are short get squeezed.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to have more numbers over the weekend for the bi-monthly stuff come out, so I'll know a little bit more come Monday. But just on the daily shorting from the FINRA data, this in the NVIDIA, everybody is shorting it every 5 minutes. And I've got about 5 people that email me that they're short, and they've been shorting for the last 5 days. Now they're double and tripling up on it. So my thought are, it's until those guys quit emailing me, it's probably going higher.
Jeez.
Now, does it hit 100? I think you could. You got 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of fun buying. You got a huge amount of shorts in this market. You got almost no volume. And that's why they tell you to be don't be short a quiet market, right? Because
don't short a dull market.
Yeah, or quiet market. That's the way I always.
Can you take a quick look at GDX here, Dave? See what that's doing here. GDX.
Can you say that slowly?
Yeah, GDX.
Okay.
The gold miners. GDX.
Yeah, like I said, Monday I think is a huge deal.
Okay.
Do they sell this? Are they parking money this weekend because they were afraid of being in crude as it came back, or do they smell something bigger long term? So if you don't see these folks probably sell it on Monday, I think it's a big deal. If you start seeing selling Monday and Tuesday, then they just park money in there. So risk reward is pretty good for being long here. So I wouldn't say it's bad, but I was going to say that from my understanding, a lot of people just park cash in the gold stocks thinking that they were so beat down that there wasn't much lower. And a lot of times people, especially in recessions and in markets, even, I've said it for a long time over the last 6-9 months, and that is that even in a bear market, the market's going up 3/4 of the time. So it just doesn't go up that much, right? Or you go sideways and it's just slightly higher, but it's higher. Generally, if you were thinking about shorting AMD, I'd wait for a big pop. And on GLD...
No, GDX. We're talking about GDX.
If you hang out here on Monday and you don't see a lot of sellers, I think you got a bottom.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, David.
We'll be back in a minute.
Thank you. Thank you.
TFNN has been your trusted source of analysis for bonds, metals, stocks, commodities, and options for years. And we are happy to announce that we are bringing that same caliber of analysis for the Forex market. Teddy Keckstad has 30-plus years of experience in Forex trading, commodity risk management, Forex hedging, volatility, and so much more. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex report every Monday morning with elite coverage of all major currency pairs, including the DXY, Euro dollar, Pound dollar, Aussie dollar, dollar yen, dollar Swiss franc, and so much more. Teddy will recommend specific trades when the market presents them and provide updates throughout the week when warranted. For the month of July, inaugural members to the Tiger Forex Report will receive 25% off the monthly subscription for as long as they're subscribed. Just use promo code TEDDY25 to lock in the added savings. This offer is good only for the month of July, so do not miss your opportunity to save on the Tiger Forex Report. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And First Solar had a nice gap higher on earnings continuing on today. We were talking about this. Kind of interestingly enough, if solar cells or solar panels made before about mid-2018, 2019 had a fairly short lifespan, maybe 10 years, and that's about 70% of the installed base. So kind of in a weird way, all the stuff that we made was crap. So we're going to have to, all that's going to end up being ground up in a landfill. So, you know, we've got a whole lot of new solar cells to sell somebody. Now, the newer ones are supposed to have some warranties, kind of rather dubious, you know, depending. It's kind of like the ones for battery warranties for Teslas. And that is, unless the thing just really doesn't work at all, yeah, it's your problem. But, you know, the LG offers supposedly a 15-year warranty on some of these. So maybe there's a chance you'll get your money back. Now, if the government's paying for it, then, of course, I'm paying for it, which I dislike. I'm not a big fan of them yet. But certainly, if you're going to continue to throw money at the problem, certainly people are going to have to replace all those that are out there, and they're thinking that up to 70% will have to be replaced by 2026 as these all start to fail. Most of these already in that category are producing less than 50% of the power that they made when they were new. And theoretically, a lot of people talking about these LG panels and some of the other ones are supposed to be much better. But again, if you're not aiming them at the sun and tracking the sun all day long, there's probably not a good chance that these things are ever going to pay for themselves. But that doesn't matter. People want them. And we're not about right and wrong. We're about higher and lower. So at the moment, we're going to fix all the stuff that we didn't make very good to begin with. Probably not a great business plan, but not a bad one either. Planned obsolescence. So there you go, First Solar. And, of course, lots of people shorting that, but it's hard to say. Other questions in the den out here on Shopify. I'm not a big fan of getting in here. Generally, when you come off such monster highs as you are in Shopify here, the one thing I can say is that you want a very, very long consolidation at these lows. So, you know, maybe between 30 and 40 bucks. I don't, with a lot of other stocks that don't have near the problem that Shopify has, and internal turmoil and intrigue in the E-suite, not a big thing. Ooh, yeah, that is interesting. Someone in the den said AQMS recycling solar panels. That just means they're grinding them up and throwing them in a landfill. But people buy those scams all the time. Remember that biodegradable plastic? Well, none of it was. But those things just go on and on. You want to feel good, but there is no biodegradable plastic. It's still, they've dug it up after 20 years in the landfill, and it's exactly like it was when they buried it. But, hey, probably you could sell that. That's probably an interesting company, AQMS. I'll have to look at that later. But, if you're talking about 70% of the installed base being ground up one day, that's probably not a bad business to be in. Other questions out here. Okay. I have to scroll back up here. On AMAT, again, I'm extremely hesitant to be long any semi right now with China action in the lurch. If you read any of the English translations of the Chinese newspapers, they are none too kind about the current administration's backbone and what it's made of, and maybe even the emotional or mental acuity of the same person. I don't know if they believe their own newspapers. Unfortunately, many people do, and I would be worried about it. So for the SMHs that are directly an issue, I'm thinking that you've come up, you've actually filled this gap today on applied material. You've probably gotten everything you wanted. The energy has not been strong off the lows. You're down about 20% on the energy you went up. Today you did hit this gap down with 8.4 million shares with 2.6 million shares. Now, does that mean it's turning tail and run? No, but my guess is it's probably got most everything priced into the upside. And the question is, if you've been long this thing, are you really just trying to get every ounce of it? I'm a big fan of selling when you can and not when you have to. So that's it. Anyway, thanks, Mike. I hadn't thought about that. Okay, let's go through some of these earnings as fast as I have. Apple came out with earnings, did get higher, did beat the estimates, but not the whisper number. I got to 163.63, and it's just kind of hanging out here. I didn't think it's glass half full, half empty. Early in the day, options pointed to 160, but that's gotten better as the volume has decreased to nothingness out here. Okay. Now we're up 58 points on the S&P cash. Other stocks, Amazon. Very interesting to see Amazon go right back up to a double gap. This gap down is from the 29th of April. That had 272 million shares into it today with 108. Like I said, pretty long in the tooth. I just think because of fund buying, it's probably not the right time to pull the trigger short. My guess is going to hang up here probably through Wednesday. Yamana Gold had earnings, not a lot of movement on that. Taking a real beating, and I thought maybe we would see some people trying to exit stage left here in the United States and sell U.S. stocks to make up for the monster losses that we're seeing in China these days. Interestingly enough, they're forcing Jack Ma out, the aforementioned Chi-Coms, or Chinese communists, if you live in Lutz, did exactly what Wyckoff talked about with breaking through ice. You just go boom and right through it. You've got 3 more gaps down below. And so, if you want to look at this second one, probably going to get a third one out here for another gap. 877-927-6648 if you're quick on the buttons.
Vista Gold owns and operates the largest undeveloped gold project in Australia, the Mount Todd Gold Project. Vista Gold just completed their feasibility study, resulting in a 7 million ounce gold reserve. Vista Gold has all major permits approved and has retained CIBC capital market assistance in evaluating alternatives and in completing an accretive transaction. Vista Gold trades on the NYSE American and TSX under the ticker symbol VGZ. Vista Gold, executing a strategy to create shareholder value.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched The Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we get ready to wrap up yet another wonderful and excellent power trading hour, we're up 56 points on the S&P cash. Dow 30 up 294. Nasdaq up 215. Russell's up 0.6. Crude oil up 2.5%. What do we have? Gold up 0.75%. So got an interesting day. What we don't have is any volume. We're just now cracking with 1 hour to go about 7.2 billion shares. So very quiet. As I said, the old saying is do not be short a quiet market, especially into fund buying. And the other, of course, corollary is don't get into a land war in Asia. But we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for some fund buying. I think most of it's priced in here. I think a lot of people are probably going to get short early for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if they all pile on AMD and Nvidia, the usual suspects, probably not going to turn out well. So we'll see. If we're going to probably move lower, my guess is best guess at the moment right now is without a huge surprise in the market. We're probably going to hang out around these levels until Wednesday. Fun buying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Not much in the way of earnings coming forward. A lot of saber rattling in the Straits of Taiwan. So maybe something happens. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe a couple of carriers run into each other. But it's hard to bet on that. So, like I said, I'm not expecting a great deal. I'll probably be trying to score some ill-gotten gains on squeezes next week. And you can always check out my newsletter at the front page of TFNN. As I say, sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll be back here on Monday like a bad rat.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to